Okay, semaglutide. It's everywhere in the weight loss conversation, right?
Absolutely everywhere.
But what if we're kind of missing the bigger picture by just calling it a medication? What if there's something deeper going on?
That's exactly what we're going to dive into. We've got a couple of really fascinating sources here.
Right.
One's called the Dan Hollis Semaglutide Manifesto. Sort of lays out a whole philosophy.
Okay.
And the other is a personal reflection. Weight loss, what Dan Hollis taught me about weight loss, which shows how these ideas play out for someone.
Got it. So our mission today is really to unpack this specific viewpoint, pull out the key takeaways from these sources, and just get a clear sense of what this different approach is all about, why it seems to be connecting with people.
Yeah, get informed quickly on this particular perspective.
So let's kick off where they seem to start. This idea of reframing semaglutide itself, it's not the main solution in their view, is it?
No, not at all. That's like a core point right out of the gate.
Yeah.
They're very clear. It's a tool.
Hmm.
A powerful one, yes, but definitely not the magic fix.
Okay, a tool. But a tool for what specifically? What do they say it's actually, doing?
Well, they describe it as changing things up in your brain. How you think about hunger, satisfaction,
Sure.
even like the reward you get from food, it dials down that constant internal noise.
And that reflection piece mentioned that this shift, it can feel amazing, freeing, but also a bit scary.
Exactly, yeah. For a lot of folks, food isn't just fuel. It's been like a constant companion, maybe a co-pilot, as one source calls it.
Hmm.
So when that food noise suddenly gets quiet, or the urge for certain things just fades, it's a massive relief, sure. But it can also leave this emptiness.
Avoid.
Yeah, a void.
Yeah.
It takes away a familiar way of coping, and that can feel really unsettling for some people.
So right away, this approach puts the sort of human journey front and center. It's not just about the drug's chemistry.
Precisely. And that focus on the human side leads straight into their next big point, challenging this whole idea that willpower is the be-all and end-all for weight loss.
Ugh, the willpower myth. I think anyone who's struggled with weight has probably felt like, if only I had more willpower.
Right. It's such a common feeling.
But these sources are saying willpower. Maybe it was never the real issue for long-term success.
That's the argument. They suggest that just relying on willpower alone is, well, fundamentally limited.
Why, though?
Because, as the manifesto puts it, you're essentially fighting against really powerful forces. Your own biology, your emotions, these habit loops that are wired in deep. The odds are kind of stacked against pure grit when you look at it that way.
So it's not about being lazy or undisciplined, which is what so many people internalize.
Not according to this view, no.
Yeah.
They stress that what you actually need is insight, understanding those forces, and then structure.
Structure.
Yeah, and tools that actually work with your biology instead of constantly trying to overpower it, meeting it where it is.
I remember that line from the reflection piece. Semaglutide isn't cheating, it's adaptation. The real cheat is pretending willpower was enough. That really lands, doesn't it?
It really does. It reframes the whole struggle. It's about finding smarter ways to adapt, not just pushing harder against a system that's designed to push back.
Okay, so if willpower isn't the main event, this naturally opens up. Well, what seems like the core focus here, the emotional side, the identity stuff.
Yes, definitely. That feels central to this whole approach.
This idea that weight loss is emotional weight as much as it is physical weight, how do they break that down?
Well, they point out that people eat for so many reasons besides just, actual physical hunger.
Sure. Stress, boredom.
Anxiety, loneliness, celebration, comfort. Food gets tied into almost every emotional state, every social situation. It becomes the go-to response.
And semaglutide, while it might quiet the physical hunger pangs, it doesn't magically make the anxiety or the boredom disappear.
Exactly, and the sources are really clear on this. If you don't work on those underlying emotional reasons while the physical cravings are lower, you're basically setting yourself up for relapse when the medication eventually stops.
So you need something else.
They talk about needing emotional recalibration. You have to find new ways to handle those feelings.
That personal account used such a striking image describing how semaglutide creates this silence where food used to be just constant noise.
It's a powerful metaphor, isn't it? It really resonates.
Yeah.
And the manifesto echoes it. It says, the real work begins when the cravings stop. That's when the truth shows up.
Wow.
That quiet space.
Wow.
That's where you finally get the chance to look at why you were reaching for food when you weren't actually hungry.
Which means you then have to, as they put it, rewrite the rituals that define their identity. The drug doesn't do that part.
No, that's the human work. This perspective sees it as building a life where food isn't your main tool for coping or connecting. You need other things.
Other strategies, other sources of fulfillment.
Right. The manifesto has this line. You didn't lose control, you lost connection.
Connection to what?
To your hunger cues, to your purpose, to yourself. That's what we help you rebuild. So it's framed as this journey of reconnection.
Okay, so it's deep work. It's not just physical. What about the pace of the physical change then? These sources seem wary of going too fast.
They are, definitely. They explicitly call fast weight loss without metabolic pacing a trap.
A trap? That sounds serious. Why a trap?
Well, they lay out the risks. Your metabolism can slow down more than it needs to. You can lose valuable muscle mass along with the fat.
Which makes it harder later on.
Exactly. It can actually worsen your long-term prospects, losing weight really fast without building sustainable habits to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see that as setting a trap for yourself down the line.
So it's not just about the number going down, it's how it goes down and what you're building while it happens.
Precisely. The emphasis is all on pacing. Timing your nutrition right, layering in new habits gradually, letting your body and mind adjust sustainably. And the reflection piece had a great point. Fast results don't mean lasting ones. And crucially, the scale doesn't measure self-trust.
Ooh, I like that. The internal metrics.
Yeah, those matter just as much, maybe more in this view.
Okay, so if sustainability is key, then that period after the medication, that becomes absolutely critical in this framework, doesn't it?
You could argue it's the most critical phase.
Really?
Yeah, the sources really hammer this home. If you use semaglutide as a temporary fix, but don't build a solid plan for life after you stop, well, the odds are high that the old patterns just creep back in.
Because the appetite comes back.
The appetite signals return, yeah, and those emotional triggers. They're still there, waiting, if you haven't developed new ways to handle them.
So the goal is building habits that can live beyond the injections.
That's the phrase, yeah.
Hmm.
The manifesto talks about semaglutide providing a pause, maybe a breather, or a reset.
A window of opportunity.
Exactly. It's this biological window where you can step back from the constant struggle and actually design a new way of operating, one that doesn't depend solely on the medication.
That personal reflection had such a powerful insight here, saying every pound lost isn't just weight gone. It means a habit has to be replaced. You're not just removing something, you have to consciously build something new, something better in its place.
That frames it perfectly. And the reflection also offered another line that really stuck. You don't hold on to weight loss with discipline. You hold on to it with alignment.
Alignment, not just white-knuckling it.
Right. It's about getting your daily actions, your choices, your environment, even your sense of self, lined up with the person you want to be and the life you want to live. Not just constantly fighting your own impulses through sheer force of will.
So the biology gives you a head start.
Biology gives you the initial advantage, the opening. But it's this rebuilt identity, this sense of alignment, that keeps you on track for the long haul.
And kind of underpinning this whole thing, there's a core principle the manifesto states really clearly. There is no shame here, only process.
Yes. That feels foundational. It directly pushes back against that pervasive feeling people have of being broken or lazy or, just undisciplined.
Which is so common.
So common. The sources argue, look, you're not inherently flawed. You've been up against some powerful forces. Biology, yes, but also, as One Piece hints, a culture that maybe even profits from your confusion around food and health.
So the aim isn't just resetting your body, it's resetting your own expectations, your self-judgment.
Exactly. Approaching it like a problem to understand and a process to navigate, not like some kind of personal moral test you keep failing.
And they don't frame it as just a rigid set of rules, right? They use the word conversation.
Yeah, a conversation, not a prescription, which points towards the importance of the relationship.
Relationship with food, with your body.
Yes, and also the relationship with whoever is guiding you or the community supporting you. It's less about strict rules and more like getting a map, a guide, and a support crew for the journey.
The reflection piece summed that up nicely. You're not starting over. You're starting right.
That pulls it all together, doesn't it? Starting right means, well, starting from understanding, not shame. Using tools that actually fit how your body and brain work.
And having support.
And having support to build something that lasts. That personal account described the healing involved as quiet, intentional. The slow layering of new choices, new thoughts, and new systems, all built during that window semaglutide provides.
And in the end, both sources seem to land on what feels like the real heart of the transformation they're describing. It's not about morphing into some totally different person.
No, the reflection piece concludes with that thought, and it's maybe the most powerful insight of all. In this view, the goal isn't to fundamentally change who you are.
It's about finally getting the space, the quiet, the support, the right tools to actually become yourself.
Exactly. The person who was maybe always there, just kind of hidden beneath the struggle, the noise, the disconnection.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive really shows a perspective on semaglutide and weight loss that's, well, it's worlds away from just take a shot, lose weight.
Totally different narrative.
It shifts everything
Yeah.
from seeing the medication as the solution or willpower as the key virtue to seeing the medication as a tool, the whole thing as a process, and the ultimate goal as something closer to identity alignment.
It really does. It makes you think, if lasting change isn't really about sheer willpower or even just hitting a certain number on the scale, then how much of what we call weight loss is actually this much deeper work? The work of rebuilding our relationship with ourselves and maybe designing a life where health and well-being sit naturally. That's definitely something to chew on.